Good, good.
So what's up?
How's your past week gone? You had a good week?
Yeah, we had a lot of work. Got some big deliverable for Wednesday, so I was a bit focused on that, and then after I forgot everything. And
Yeah.
yeah, when you work for a specific date, yeah. So now it's a bit more relaxed. So that's cool.
Oh, geez. So we're doing the funding thing, and this one guy on Saturday night, Sunday morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, texts me and says, "Hey, I'm ready to go now." This is last time we talked was like 8 months ago, and so he texts me. He says, "I'm ready to go. I got the investment. We're all ready to go." So I'm like, out of the blue. So then I texted back, "Okay, let's talk tomorrow." And so we talked Sunday, and then we got right into it. Turns out that he's got lots of money coming in, more than he needs from me, for sure. And he's waiting for an approval from a bank down in Peru. It's an international bank called Interbank. And so he's waiting for that to come through. But it comes through, he wants to invest not only the $5 million, but he wants to beef it up to $6 million now, and then $14 million in 2 years for my A round.
Wow.
So we're like, if he comes through, there's no. I'm giving you like until it happens, until the wire hits.
Okay.
It's not real. But if it does, it'll be nice. And then I had another group that I found on LinkedIn showed up, and it's this guy who was the new business manager for the Red Sox and for another team down here. And he says, "I've got NFL players, I got NBA players, I got people who want to do this." So we started talking to him. Next thing, he's got his group on the line, and that was 2 mornings ago. And then they emailed back yesterday, "Okay, we're very interested, and we really love what we're doing, and we want it done as a note instead of as equity." I'm like, "Well, that's a lot better for me as far as dilution goes." So we started talking to them, and I haven't heard back from them yet today. I don't think. Let me see, because they emailed me yesterday at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Cool. Yeah.
I haven't gotten, so things are like all of a sudden went from 0 to 100 in like 6.2 seconds, and so it's really cool. It's just very exciting.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So
very happy about that. That was my week.
Something's gonna happen for sure.
Oh, definitely. And I have other investors who said, "I get the first guys in, they want the rest." So if we get even one of these guys in for 100 or 200, I can get the rest done with all these other guys who said they wanted in after, as long as they're not the first guys with big money coming in.
Yeah. Well, and the good guy is important. Well, it's not only first guy, but also to make sure that, yeah, this guy can bring other people with him.
Exactly. Yeah, I like the concept. The first guy that called on Saturday, he's talking about bigger money, but he doesn't have these operational benefits, and he's equity.
Okay.
So it would be harder for me to deliver that than it would be to get involved with these other guys now who have the pro players. They can do the money, and they want to do it in a debt round, which is a lot better for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty crazy. We went from like, here's this, and then here's that.
I'm gonna close that door because we have some people around. It's breakfast time here. So good for you, Greg. It's So how did you manage to meet all those guys during meeting, congress, or?
This guy I met at the first guy I met at a bar in a hotel in New York City at
Okay.
like 1 o'clock in the morning. I came in with a friend of mine who also raises money, but he wasn't involved in this transaction. And so we're sitting down, and I go to the bar to grab a drink, and he's like, "Hey, I'm what the hell's his name? Holy shit! Oh my god, what's his name?
Hmm.
What the fuck is? Holy shit, this is embarrassing. What the hell's his name? Oh my god,
Oh, I'm kind of not good word to say, but I'm kind of happy because that's happening to me all the time.
I know. You're a lot younger. You shouldn't be so happy about that. So okay, yeah, this guy's Frank Santos, and so um, yeah, so Frank is. I met at a bar. And his name was Frank, and we started talking. He was really interested in what we did. I sent him all the information. He said, "Listen, I've got money coming in. I'm just waiting for it all to happen." I said, "Great. I'm so used to this. I was like, whenever you get around to it, just give me a call. No problem. Whatever." And I just kept sending him updates, with everybody else. And the last update was about a month ago, and then he texts back, on Saturday, and so that worked out, real obviously really cool so far, because he's talking about sick money. He's talking about bringing. He wants to do a leveraged buyout with an oil and gas company, and he's got a portfolio of other things. He wants vineyard, real estate. He wants to have a bunch of other stupid stuff. But what I care about is obviously the money for me. So I'm excited about that. Then these other guys, they're on LinkedIn, and I met the first guy, this guy named Corey. Met him on LinkedIn, and then he said, "I got two other partners. I want them to talk to you, and I've got guys to talk to, and on and on." I was like, "Great, that's cool."
Wow.
So I like he already said like he's got a coach that he wants me like a pro coach that he wants me to talk to.
Okay. Wow.
So we'll see how that goes. Nothing's good until the money hits. So I'm
Yeah.
ignoring it. So, but it's good. It's good to have that kind of stuff starting to really sizzle.
Yeah. I wish you can put some money down. It's the name of the game, right?
It is. It is.
Yeah.
It's all that. It's crazy. So that was cool. So I wanted to show you our site and
Yep.
how we work. So let me see if I can get there. First, I'm going to get it. Cool. Okay. First, I had to make sure it was up because it crashes every Friday. So I had to make sure it's still up, but it is. Um, okay, can you see that?
Sure.
What do you see?
UB Sports.
Excellent. Okay, good. Whew. Okay, good. So this is how it works. So we have two lines of let me log in first. Boink, 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 boink. So it's a member site. You get more information and content if you join. And when you sign up, we have a bunch of different criteria. One is who you are. Two is your zip code. Three is how old you are. And if you're under 15 at this point, you have to also give me your mom's or dad's, your guardian's email address.
Yeah.
And they have to join before you really get full access. So once you go through all that, then it asks you some personal questions like what are your favorite sports? What's your position in each one of the sports? They ask you, are you a pro? Are you an amateur? Are you a coach? Are you an official in it? And it asks me basically the way yours does, where it says, what's your role? And from there, then we ask, okay, so where do you play? And there's like 5 different levels of personal information we ask. One of them is, your personal stats, like how tall are you, how strong are you, how fast you are, how agile you are, and we have different ways to prove that. And except for agility, we don't really have something that proves agility. But we do like, what's your bench press, what's your leg raise, what's your leg press, what's your bicep curl, tricep, and if you're really into it, in this next permutation of the site, we're going to be asking you to prove it. So we're going to give out a verified badge. It has a UB in it, and it's UB verified. So every time you prove to us by a video or some other way the stat that you're telling us, we give you a badge that says you're UB verified. So that's sort of cool, especially in phase B when we bring out the recruitment module that we're going to charge for. That's going to be like $5 a month per month. And they'll be able to search using this smart search button, and it'll have spiders. Every time somebody joins, if it's in the coach's sport, it's going to ask them more specifically what their stats are so that the coach can find somebody who's doing what he needs. So if the coach says, I'm looking for a rugby coach, for example, yeah, I'm looking for a guy who's 6 feet tall or bigger, heavier than 220, can run a 40 and 4.4, can bench 250, and can do a leg raise of 500. And if you can do all that, then he gets he'll that'll be pushed off to the coach, and the coach sees an email that says, check out John Smith. John Smith just passed all your tests. You should check him out. So, and then you can actually cross. What's really cool is that because we have so many sports, we can cross pollinate. So if the rugby coach, you really don't have to have much eye-hand coordination to be a rugby player. You just have to be willing to break your nose and get your ears pulled. And so the idea is that when you're searching, you can search through all the field sports. You can go through, I don't care if you're playing football, baseball, lacrosse, soccer, or rugby, because they're all the same thing. You're running on turf. And so that's sort of cool because no one else is doing that yet. And by the time you get done going through all this stuff, the coach has a really great recruitment tool that he can search our whole database. Obviously, when I have 5,000 members, it doesn't make a lot of difference. But when we have 1 million members, it makes a big difference. Mm-hmm. So we're gearing this toward having millions and millions of members, and that recruitment tool is going to come in really handy a year from now when we start getting there. So that's pretty exciting. But after you get done filling out your personal profile, that's actually here. Oh, I'm actually here. That's what this is. Okay, so it has an update. You can fill out your updates like looks like, okay. So if I share that and if I have this just set up to go to my friends, suddenly that email will go out to all my friends, or actually it'll be a text or a notification on their phone. And so now that will end up being on people's texts and phones. So that's pretty cool. My friends immediately get that, which is cool right off the bat. No one else really does it that simply. If you do it on Facebook or Instagram or that kind of stuff, it's a little more convoluted. But also, once this is set up in the next round, this is going to be like share an update, and it's going to have where I can share it. Do I want to share it onto my Twitter feed? Do I want to share it on Facebook and Instagram? And it's just click boxes. Yeah. And it'll have defaults so they can set it up. When I first set up the account, it's, okay, share an update with which of my services all the time. And if I don't go through the specific checklist, it's going to do it according to what I said originally. So that's pretty cool. And so then the member updates, all my updates that I put in end up here. So you just popped up here. Wow, that's pretty cool. Looks like we're finally getting funded. But all my friends then, they're all popping up down here. Bill McKinnon is a wrestler who just joined yesterday. So these are all happening on a real basis. And when they join, when one of my friends joins a sport or a group, it pops up here. So I have a full running tally of what's happening with my friends. Then this gets really cool. See, these are my friends down here. My blogs, I can write blogs, and if I want to add a new blog, I just click here, and I can write a blog, blah, 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 blah. I can put in here, if I want it just to be on my member page, or I want it to go out to one of the groups that I belong to. So I click here, and if it was working, which is not yet, it's going to pop down all the different groups that I belong to, and I can click which groups I want to have to recommend to that administrator to put this on that group's blog. So it has the opportunity to do that, and I'll show you where that pops up on the group later on. But so you can write blogs all you want here. You can also do videos. You can also load a video onto here. So instead of doing a regular blog, you can do a vlog, which is pretty cool too. So then all my friends' blogs, they pop up here, so I can see what they're doing, and all the events that I'm involved in pop up here. So you see, oh, that's so sad. all the squash clinics I was supposed to be in that are canceled. So that's here, and that's pretty cool. Then I can also see all my kids. This is when it gets down to being a parent. Here's a recent activity for my son Cameron, and I can click this and see what's going on with him. And my son Grady, the same thing. So I'm watching my kids stuff as well, all on this one page. And then up here, this is what's, frankly, there's so many cool things on this thing. If I want to, remember AOL back in like 1999? What happened back then was that with AOL, you had this one interface and you put all the sites loaded onto tabs in AOL. I love that. So I can go in one place and see all the stuff that I was interested in, all my news sites, all my investment sites, all my tech sites. I can see it all in one place. But that went away. That doesn't exist anymore. You got to sort of tweak things and squeeze things out to make them happen, but it's sort of a pain in the ass. Here I'm on my sports, my social media. That's all I'm pointing to the screen so you can see me pointing. That's great. So on the screen, I have this. You have Twitter, Facebook. All my stuff here is right here.
Yeah.
My favorites, the sites that I like to go to all the time, they're all right here. And the videos that I like watching, I've saved tabs so I can see my favorite videos on UB Sports are there. My favorite blogs are here. My favorite news sites, this is what gets really cool. I can set up different tabs and name them. So I can have all my news sites. So I have my news sites here. And this will set up an iframe like a Google page or like a Safari page. Tech sites, the same thing. I can go to any one of these guys. YouTube, I can go right to my YouTube page there. Marketing and management, those are my marketing management sites, so I can check that out. So basically, I built my whole world right here.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I have, I can see all my messages that came in, all the invites to join groups or to become friends would be there. And I can also invite friends from outside UB Sports here to join, and I can go find other members here on UB Sports here, or I can find groups here. If I click that, it's going to show you all the groups that are. We have over 150, 200 groups now. So it's really growing very quickly. I mean, now it's that's why I'm crashing the site every Friday, because we're getting a lot of activity and it's crashing the site. But that nobody knows about this. We're not even marketing to this. This is so totally like, oh, by the way, you can build your best world possible here on UB Sports. So when you start on Safari, the first thing you do is go to UB Sports and get your world so you can see it all in front of you. I personally love that. I think it's the coolest thing in the world. Oh, wait, I didn't want to go there yet. I wanted to show you something else here. My info. So here's my personal information right now. This changes when we get the new site, but all my personal information is here. I can add sports here, pick sports from here. And when this is what I was talking about before. So let's say I pick, what do I pick? I pick chess. Okay, so click Save Profile. And it pops up here. So chess is here now.
Okay.
And I can decide if I'm a player or a pro or a coach or a parent or a fan. So whatever role I have, that gives me different functionalities. So I'm going to say I'm a player and save. So now every time something comes in that would be interesting for me as a player, that's going to be pumped right to my personal page. And also I'll get notifications or emails to that effect. So that's really cool. So then, and that's what I do here. my email address where I want things to be sent to, personal notification centers. If I want things to be sent to, I send a new message or an invitation, I can have it sent to my messages or invitations could be done. How it gets sent is here. We didn't add the texts that, of course, text notifications, resident notifications, because we don't have that set up yet. But when we do, that's all going to pop up here. I can put my photo up here and change my photo whenever I want. And then my parental guidance, I get, if they're between 13 and under, the kids have to sign me up, or I have to sign up to be able to watch them. So I go in here. 13 to 17, I have my choice of, I have to, if it's approvals, every membership and every friendship that happens, I have to approve. If it's profile, if checked, no one can see the use, real picture or name, that's really important for me. And oversight, if your kids are under 18, I want to make sure their experience size is appropriate, and I'll be able to watch what they're doing without approving or disapproving what they're doing. So I just get to watch what's going on, and that's put in here. So I have 2 kids that were on the site, Cam and Grady, and it's either approvals, watching their profile, or watching their oversight, and it's all right there.
Yeah.
So, and that's going to be deeper when we get done with this because of what the USOC needs. But that all helps us qualify for COPA qualification. So as far as kids are concerned, and as far as the government's concerned, I'm doing what I have to do there.
Cool.
So that's where that goes. Now, the about me part will get deeper because we'll have the personal information. We're going to have the stats, your physical stats, and then your sports stats. What did I do in sailing? How am I ranked in squash? All that kind of stuff can be put into those levels once we get the new site launched. So that's all ready to go. So that's pretty cool. That's about as deep as you can get in your personal profile. Now, as far as the UB Universe, UB Universe is the community that you join. Whenever anyone joins UB Sports, they end up being in the UB Universe. And the ambassadors are all the Olympic athletes and pros there. And the ambassador content, when one of these ambassadors writes a blog or an update to their group, that pops up here. Because these are all Olympic athletes or pro athletes. So they have followings and fans. And if I'm even not a member of their sport, I'm going to be really interested to see what Olympic athletes are talking about. So that pops up here.
Okay.
And videos gets to be drawn from all the videos that are the most popular on UB Sports pop up here. And you can like scroll through them. You can say, I only want to see things on tennis and squash. So only tennis and squash stuff will pop up. But otherwise, just the most popular sports or the popular videos across all of UB Sports will pop up here. So if everybody's watching, the U.S. Open, that'll pop up there, and you'll say, "Wow, that's what everybody cares about in my world," and that'll pop up there. Then you can say, "Okay, I want to go down to drill down to what's the most popular video in squash or baseball or whatever I'm watching." And so you have a lot of capabilities there that really bring you into like what is the coolest thing that's going on right now. Member content. This is those blogs that members can write. That would pop up in here. And the curated content. This is basically I would say it's blogs and news items and other stuff coming off of other sites that one of the ambassadors thought was so cool that they copied and pasted onto one of those pages, those blog pages. And then there's a place where you can click. I'll show you. So the ambassador can write their own blogs like this, right? Mm-hmm. But here they have a choice of hitting curated. If they curated, that's going to mean that they just copied and pasted off of another site. They didn't write anything. They just said, this is from ESPN.com, blah, blah, blah. So that keeps that current, and it's hands-on. Like this is one of the ambassadors really said, this is like a really cool thing that I think all my guys want to see. So that's sort of important. Twitter feeds, we grab the Twitter feeds from all the different sports that are being followed on UB Sports pop up here. So this This covers all the sports, and this keeps going. This will go for forever. So that's really cool. Under here, it's one of the problems with our site right now is that this got buried, but here is, I can't even get to it, but this is bulletins that are popped out to the membership by the ambassadors. And then under that is a calendar of all the sports. And there again, you can drill down, say all the sports that, all the events that are happening on the calendar for all sports. And then you can say, I only care about my sports. I don't care about darts. And so you can just say my sports, or what sports you want to be following the schedules of. And if I just care about my groups, I can just put my groups with my kids. I can see what their schedules are. So you can be very specific with the schedule. Schedules are really important because that really puts us, again, on a different level than any other social media, general social media like Facebook or one of those. So as an administrator of the UB Universe, I can make administrative changes. I can invite other people from in the membership of UB Sports. I can ask them to join whatever group it is. I can email non-members, my friends, my contacts from outside. I can invite them in. And I can also, if I want, this is also going to allow you to go out to Facebook and drag and drop your friends from Facebook and Twitter and from Instagram. So then if I have a group, I have like everybody in my league that I want to get joined up on UB Sports, I can send them a member list. And that says new member list, ubsports.com, and I can send an Excel spreadsheet to say, I'm Greg Burton, I'm sending my squash team, and I want to get them all joined up onto UB Sports. And with the Excel spreadsheet, well, as it says, you can see it here. Please find my group's new member list with email for and that all happens. So I'll save. So obviously you can see we've done a shitload to make it work on that front. And sport portals, every time the sport starts, we open up a sport, we bring in an ambassador, and we get them to set this up. So if it's somebody we don't have, we'll have an administrator in-house, the ambassador, and they'll show up there. And then we have, well, all this stuff here, you'll see ambassador content, which is, I wrote, as the ambassador, I wrote stuff and popped it up here. See, when we set this up was back in 2017. That was even before we had the site open. That was when we just launched the site. So we set it up, and we set up a bunch of these like this, where someone who wasn't really a member or wasn't the top cricket player in the world, they signed up. So we have videos on how to play, and here's the events, the schedule. And bulletins are immediate, again, immediate notifications out to the people saying, in my group or to the Hall of UB Sports, what's going on that's so important. It might be Cricket World Championships finals. And I can click here and go, what's the bulletin? Cricket World. So I can say when I want the bulletin to go out and who I want to see. It could be just my group, which would be the sport, everybody in the sport of cricket, when you're on the sport portal like this, or to everybody, all the public, everybody in the UB universe goes out there. So what's cool about this is that you have all the news that's important in cricket. You can load, the ambassador would load all this information in, and if it's working today, it should go out right to Cricinfo, but it's not working today. And this takes a long, unfortunately with Ruby on Rails, this part takes a long time to load. It's a real pain in the ass. The full toss, so then, and that's one of the biggest problems with see, it just finally is getting around to it. But this is the same thing as you would find on Google if you searched on a Safari. If you Googled the full toss, you would get this. You would pop out the site. Now, this is a fully active full toss page. So all of their tabs will work. So that's fully live. And what's cool about this is that they're getting, you'll see ads on the side over here, they're getting credit for views. And so that's pretty cool. And so are we, because down here we get ads as well. So that's, everybody's happy. Everybody loves having this kind of visibility and notoriety and activity. So it works for everybody. But if you go back to, I'll do badminton. We are working with U.S. badminton already. So we have a lot of stuff going on here. And so last stuff that happened in badminton was the World Championships. And this is all live. I can click here. And it's the thing that I wrote for that. And then we have videos. The most recent videos, or the videos that the ambassador thinks is the most important, pops up here. And that's either YouTube, Vimeo, or when we launch our own site, we'll also have our own video system working, which is using an algorithm that's 3 times better than Netflix. So it's incredible. The power that it has is going to be incredible. We'll be able to watch. See, what's the problem with badminton? I'll show you, actually. Problem with badminton is that
the rich variety of
when they're playing,
causing havoc with today's opponents.
When you hit the birdie, you're hitting it 200 miles an hour. So you never see the thing until it slows down on the other side. I don't know how clearly and how many frames per second that's showing, but you don't see it until it slows down to the other side of the net. And with our new system, especially on a full page thing, tell me if you can see this. I've always wanted to try this. Hold on.
Towards his former doubles partner there, having set the point up well.
Well, I guess I'm showing that I didn't think it was going to work. Okay, so I'll just stop this. But anyway, the problem with the video that we have available now is that you can't see that birdie leaving the racket. Because it's moving 200 miles an hour. It's a blur. It's like, boom. But with our video system, we'll be able to see that. It's that fast and that clear.
Yeah.
It's really amazing. So I have all these videos loaded. And each one of these is a set of videos, like a playlist.
Okay.
So all those videos are here. And the same thing, that would be
more in front than the power smash.
so that works really cool. So obviously we spent a lot of time on this, making this work. And it took about 1.5 years for us to work this all out, with me sitting down with a programmer every single day saying, this is what I need this to do, this is what I need that to do. So that was pretty cool. So in badminton, we have the news, U.S. Badminton, that's the World Federation of Badminton, and this is U.S. Open Badminton news. We have rules. The rules come right from the Badminton Federation. And skills and drills videos. Here's connections right to the governing bodies. So I go to USA Badminton. And again, it's so sketchy as far as this goes. It takes forever sometimes, and other times it loads really fast. Like that just loaded really like bang. So that's really cool. This is something that's really weird. In each one of these sports, the governing body is supposed to tell anybody in the nation where to play, but they don't. So you have to like find. They finally came through. Okay, that's what happens there. Governing bodies, you have to actually go to like 5 screens back on any one of the governing body sites to find out where to play, which is the stupidest thing in the world. Because if I'm going to Ohio today, I want to find out where to play. And so the club listings in the U.S., when that comes up, that'll be the club listings eventually. And I can see I can put in videos here, or actually the videos are so loaded in this thing is crazy. So all this kind of stuff is available. But on the front page, let's go back to the home for badminton. You have videos for badminton. You have the ambassador content for badminton. You have the curated content, all those actual articles from other sites are there. Bulletins are the real-time bulletins that were sent out, and then we have all the Twitter feed from Badminton is here, and then
Uh,
we have a schedule. And a schedule, I can if I'm the ambassador, I know when the regionals are or the nationals, I
Mhm.
can set that up right in here and just plug in a new event. And put all what the event is, if it repeats every day or every week or month or whatever, and where it is, the URL for the game of the event. And that's especially good if you're trying to get people to join the event. If I want people to join it for the nationals, for example, I put
Mhm.
that stuff in here, and that'll help you register. If it's just my team and I want them all to tell me that they're coming to practice today, I can ask for RSVPs. And if I want that note on the schedule saying that my practice is at 3 o'clock, I can ask. I can make sure that it shows up just for the group members, or for everybody on that calendar, or just everybody in the whole world in UB Sports.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Do you want to go back just a sec on the skill and drill section?
Yeah, sure.
Is this hardered by skill level, age group, or just a bunch of drills?
Skill level. It's set up for, and what's two things. One is skill level, or what you're learning. If you're learning overhead or a smash, or see it says advanced smash, those would be smashes, right?
Okay, I understand. Yeah.
And you can do beginners videos. So this is how you learn how to play. And as this is good intro lessons, that's what it's all about and how to play. And then as you get more serious, you have as it says here, exercise warm-ups, how to cover the full court,
Okay.
all that
Okay.
kind of stuff.
Understood.
So
Yeah.
it's like the next level up from total beginner.
Okay.
And so it's very thorough, and it's like everything you could ever ask for. And then let's say you have a bunch of friends who want to play. You can go over here and say, listen, hey guys, this is really cool. I want you to join. So you can click there and have all your friends join the badminton site. If you have a badminton group, I'll show you that in a second. I'll show you right now. So that's what every sport portal has, the same look and feel. You go in there, you have all these tabs available. We'll also, of course, have over here, we'll have the equipment tab so you can buy stuff. And that helps a lot. Now on each portal page when we get going, there will be ads that are specific to badminton or soccer or cricket or whatever sport it is. So those are the most important ways that we make money every day, because every time somebody looks at that banner or it shows up on their page, they're making money. And because we're using endemic advertisers, like for badminton, it would be badminton racket manufacturers or birdie manufacturers. So it's going to be Yonex or Carlton or one of the guys who does that. So Sportcraft makes a lot of birdies here in the United States, so that would show up there. So that's basically what happens here. Now, if you want to start a group, or if you're looking for your group, let's say you want to, your Chelsea Pure Squash, you belong to Chelsea Pure Squash, or let's use, actually, we're going to use, Southampton, what should we use, Siena Squash Club? So if the Siena Squash Club isn't loaded up, it's going to look like this. And this is important. This is all the stuff that you can do. You can have venues, photos, videos, other resources, which would include things like subscription services. If there's a coach or like Squash Skills is one of the organizations that has a subscription video system for squash players. Mm-hmm. So I can put in here Squash Skills. In fact, I will. I can go here, other resources. SQUASHSKILS.com. And I'm going to put that there, and also www.SQUASHSKILS.com, and hit create new link. So now I go back to Siena Squash Club. in those core skills. So that's how easy it is to set up the site.
That's great. That's great. There's so many things going through my mind right now, Greg. It's you drove me into deep into my head, and normally it's either bad or good. I mean, there's so many potential here. I think I capture your vision, and I can appreciate that this is the only the start, and I understand that there's a gap between what you want to do and what you have right now. But I see this I see similar challenge that I had and still have, is to focus, because in your head, I feel like it's in mine. There's so many things, and you know, last time we spoke, I was still looking for what's the, you know, the line of thought that you or the direction, main principal direction that you want to take, and there's many, because and maybe, I mean, what I got is that you're making a social media for sports, right?
Yeah, that's a good start. Yeah.
And starting from there, it's hard to define. For example, try define
It's always been hard.
what's Facebook. Besides being a social media for junk,
Basically.
Well, the way you would defend or present Facebook to investors would be, it's something that allow us to capture information on people, and then offer an easier way to target people and make more money, because we are the best to target people. And they're, how they define themselves, it's normally how you define yourself as a company. It's how you make money. So I took some notes here, okay? And I'm brainstorming, and the question I'm gonna ask you after that is how I can help. Okay, so it just to feed the thought for now, and after I'll try to see how I can help. So in terms of content management, so you are able to curate the content per role, per sports, per pro level age group. You could either produce your own content with your sponsors, or sorry, your ambassadors, or get content from an external source. You have the rules, skills and drills, wellness portal. I've seen live feeds as well. Venues, that's another thing, and a calendar with the event, regional and national events. And I'm still struggling to understand the revenue model, because well, at least at the stage you are right now, the advertising won't give will give you pennies, because you with the
Absolutely.
under a certain amount of traffic, you won't be able to well, you know, the food chain of advertising, right? You still at the bottom right now, and the idea is to grow in traffic and get on the top of the chain, ultimately having your own sales team selling advertising to the people. Something I like, it's the skill and drill. I think there's And there's a lot of vertical on your platform as well. You could decide, I want to go drill in that way, and I will be the best in this. For example, I take skills and drill. You could take your whole structure and focus on skill and drill. What I understand in that vertical is there's a lot of different website with skills, drills. You got some on YouTube as well. I feel like it's a lucrative path to reach coach, really highly engaged type of role. And I don't think there's anyone in that space yet that would get into the acquisition game. So for example, I will buy your asset, the list of, if you take badminton, for example, if you go on you find a website specialized in skills and drills for badminton, you could buy the whole lot for maybe $20,000-$30,000, not more. And you go buy the content one after the other, and you put that into a mobile application. And then you could end up, after spending $500,000, with all the skills and drills that belongs to you. And this way you really make sure that everyone goes into your place because you have them all. For me, the wellness portal, it's something similar, or it's okay. So what do you think for the skill and drills? Does it talk to you?
Does it talk to me? Well, no, actually, we will be in the next permutation. The way that's supposed to work is that there are actually 12 different topics, general topics. So there's going to be skills and drills. There's going to be training in each one of these. There's going to be online sessions, and then there's going to be like top coaches and top trainers in that sport will be one of the sections. And then there's going to be phases in the game. There's going to be fails and flops and bloopers. And that, of course, is what my kids love. They love the fails. And so it'll have all of those different topics. So when you go to actually, it'll say videos, and as soon as you hold your cursor over it, it's going to pop down that drop down that says, competition, skills and drills, phases in the game, blah, blah, and you pick what you're interested in doing. But you can also just have it so like the most popular one pops up here under the videos, and that's infinitely decided by you. You say what you want, what kind of section, what you want the section to be. If you want it to be all videos from the top people in training for yoga, that'll pop up. The idea is you have your choice to build this to be whatever you want it to be.
I like the idea that ambassadors are curating the content.
Isn't that cool? I love that.
Yeah. Are they doing this for free, or you have to pay them for this?
Depends. We have a couple of people on staff, or we will, that will be able to load between 10 and 20 sports per person, so I don't have to have a top athlete involved in each one of them. But the goal is to get either someone who loves the sport so much they want to do it for free, or like it'd be somebody who just retired from the pros who says, I just want to keep my name out there, I want to keep my goodwill up, and I want to be there. I want to be there for you. So what we'll do there is just give them a couple shares a month and let them grow their population and their following, and allow them to bring their fans onto the site. Because if, let's say they have 10,000 people, the way we incentivize a group or a person who's got a lot of following to bring their people on board is that if they do come on board, they get 15% of all the ad revenue that's generated from those people every year, as long as they have a relationship with us.
Okay.
So USA Volleyball, let's say, they have 40,000 members. They bring those 40,000 members on board. They're going to get roughly $1 per person per year for having those people on board. So $40,000 to USA Volleyball is a lot of money. So they're going to be very happy to take the money, and all they have to do in exchange is to allow one of their athletes to load the volleyball portal. So they're all of a sudden they have one of their top athletes coming on board, doing this stuff for free or for $20. We'll pay them $20 an hour if it's an Olympic athlete. And so if they work, it's going to take them about 6 or 7 hours for the first time to curate and set it all up. But after that, they have to be on maybe a couple hours a week answering questions from the population, which is really cool because that means like a world-class athlete is answering questions from a kid who's just starting off with their parents. What do I do? Do I start the kid in high school? Do I start the kid now? Or the kind of questions that you might ask an Olympic athlete?
Yeah, I think it's really cool. And I know that this is a real challenge to address all that different type of features all at once, and the idea is behind that, I understand that is to be able to have the most people as possible. But if you had, for example, to focus on one thing, what would it be? If you have to choose, that's a hard question. It's like choosing between your own children. But if you have
I don't have to choose. There's nothing that happens on the site that isn't infinitely reproducible. So the whole concept of this thing is that I can say, I've built something that you can come along and build a portal for your baseball team on here. Just go here, groups, create group, and you can build your whole group right here. And you decide, first of all, if it's a group, is it just a group of people, or is it a multi-group league? So you can have the league and then have different groups underneath that umbrella for each one of the teams, and then for the parents, and then for the administrators, and then for the coaches. And you could have all that under one umbrella. You can have Trainers Association, like the National Athletic Trainers Association, training room, which allows you to set up separate beds for each one of the trainers that you have working for you. Or a sport portal. A sport portal actually is only available to me. So when someone says, I want to set up a new sport, let's say they want to do Can Jam or something, I can say, okay, great, sport portal. And then down here, which sport? I get to choose the sports. If it's not here, I have an opportunity to add that on another page. So we have a whole new sport. But here's all the sports that are available to start today. So if someone says, I'm a cheerleader, I want to run the cheerleading portal, I just click cheerleading, and I can start the cheerleading portal for them. So yeah, it's that easy. But there's no reason why I have to say I'm only going to do squash and tennis, because someone comes along tomorrow and says, I'm going to do bowling. Great, let's do it. It's like 2 hours for us to set it up. And they have bowling, and they can run with it as hard as they want. So there's no reason why I don't want someone to follow their passion on the site, what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So I don't have to laser focus. I can say, here's what we have. I'm going to build the best platform that makes people want to check out the whole universe of sports, basically the wide world of sports, the way it was back on ABC back in the 70s. And so I'm looking at all the sports, and then I can start drilling down into what sports I care about. And so that's up to the population to decide where they want to go. And what I've seen is that squash is a big thing. Cricket grew on its own. Hockey got big, and I didn't even try to do that. And so these things are just happening. Now we're sponsoring a lot of the Olympic athletes to come on and do that. And what happens is when and back to my story about a big athlete, they've got 10,000 followers. They can bring on their 10,000 fans, and when the fans sign up, the top athlete is going to make $10,000 a year just from the fact that he referred people in.
Mhm.
They can do SEO, they can go search other social media, and whoever they bring in, whenever they say, hey, join this portal, join UB Sports, it's going to have their referral code for that athlete, so the athlete gets credit for that new person that comes on board. So wherever on UB Sports that new person goes, whether it's tennis or basketball or soccer, they're still getting credit for that person's tooling around on the site.
Okay.
So again, it's you bring it.
Okay. How can I help?
It's a good question. And that's one of the coolest things is that every time I show this to somebody who's in the business, who sees the vision, they ask the same question. They say, how can I help? What can I do to be involved? Number one, you can build a group. You can create a group just for your guys, your people. So whenever somebody says, I'm in Montreal and I'm interested in a group, eventually, when you create your group, it asks questions like zip code. And you put that in, if I say I'm in Montreal, it's going to show me the groups in Montreal.
Mm. Well, I would say, how can I help in the sense that I can, you see, I got a long time and develop an expertise on customer journey, on marketing, on mobile development, social platform, that kind of stuff. For example, when you draw or you design a customer journey, you need to be crystal clear on who's your customer in terms of, is it an athlete, a coach, a parent? It could be all of them, but I mean, at some point of time, you're going to be request to focus on one of them. Which one of them is more important? That would be the main customer, and the other one would be the one that follows. If you, for example, if the main customer is a coach, or let's give this assumption, customer is coach. So in the customer journey, if I am a coach, I would have to decide, okay, I want a social media or a way to communicate good content with my team. Should I use Facebook or UB Sport? This is the first question in the customer journey to ask, and then it's all about getting the people on your side, and to be able to do that, you will have to do your what we call a landing page. Landing page is not your home website page. It's really the page where you will receive a specific type of customer, and you will present the information only for that customer, simply and easily, to try to convince him to connect and have something, right? So,
have you joined UB Sports yet?
Yep.
What happened to that first page?
I don't remember.
It's supposed to, and this is something we debated a lot about what should show up when you first check out, when you try to join. What we decided to do is that when you first come on the site, you should see the UB Sports Live, the UB Universe. That's the first thing you should see. But you're allowed to click like 2 or 3 times on things, and then it pops up a page. Hey, you like the site? Join. And then we send you to a landing page and answer these questions, and you can tool around all you want. So then you're asking those questions like, okay, so what, first name, last name, zip code, email, and if you want text, fill in your phone number. And from then we say, great, go back to the site, you're a member. and then we do the email verification. And so you come back in and you have access to more stuff on the site. Then you can just tool around all you want. But we have you now as a member, and we now have valuable information. You also told me during those 6 questions what sports you like. So I basically have now a guide as to where to guide you. So then you come back on here, and the workflow goes, all right, so you said you like these sports. Which one do you want to check out first? And there'll be an active guide that'll pop up, and the sports portals will light up. It drops down, and you'll see your sports and then all the other sports. So then you say, oh, it's all the sports are right there. So for the next couple times you come visit, that's going to pop up so that you see that you can go to the different sports, and that all the sports are below that, because that's the important part, is that your curiosity really gets the best of you, because then you go like, what's curling? I don't know what the hell curling is. So okay, let's go to curling and find out what curling is. And I didn't know what curling was before, but now I know what curling is. And that's really important, is that you do have access to everything and every sport, and you have your first thing you have to do is decide what your best sports are, and you're gonna check those out. But then one thing leads to another. It's like same thing as you go into a library. You went there to get a novel, so you go to novels, but then you're walking by the tax return guides. So you go to the tax return guides, and you're like, oh, I also wanted to see something on if there's anything on badminton there. So you go to the sports section. It's basically the same thing. It's like your curiosity gets the better of you as you go in there more often. And then you want to get a video for tonight, so you go and you look in the video section. Basically, it's the same thing. But the idea is when you go to UB Sports Live, that main section, you see things you never saw before. You're going to see something written by someone about curling, and you don't know what curling is. Now, you up in Montreal, that's in your blood. So, you know what that is, but other people don't know what cricket is. I mean, people think cricket is like a bug, but little do they know it's the second most popular sport in the whole world.
Yeah.
So it's cricket. I don't know cricket. So they'll go here and they'll see cricket. And during the cricket worlds or the cricket Caribbean games and all that, that's going to end up being one of the most popular videos that pops up on UB Sports. So that's going to show up here as the most popular video. So the idea is that you realize that it's a much bigger world, especially in the United States. We are so driven toward those 5 sports: baseball, basketball, football, hockey, and golf. Because every single freaking night, there's something else on. Usually in the real world, there's something like that on TV.
Hey, Greg, did you say golf?
Yeah.
Wait. So you said baseball, football,
basketball, hockey, and the 5th most shown sport on the broadcast channels, which is ABC, NBC, CBS, is golf.
Wait, baseball, football. It's not soccer?
Nope.
Golf?
That's what's so screwed up about America. America sucks because all you see is these top 5 sports, and it drives me freaking crazy.
Wait. In terms of broadcasting on the TV, or in terms of
the main channels that everybody watches?
Okay.
Not ESPN, not FS1, not FS2, not Fox, but what everybody watches. Everybody is watching ABC, NBC, CBS, and a couple other cable channels, but they don't get to ESPN.
Golf is so boring to watch.
Oh my God, it's like watching grass grow. It's the worst freaking sport in the world, and it drives me crazy. I want to kill somebody. It's like come on, how can you watch this instead of soccer? How can you watch this instead of cycling? There's so many other sports that are so much more fun.
When's the last time you hear about a golfer who got wounded during a game?
He got a blister on his hand. I know, it's ridiculous. But actually, we did hear a lot about Tiger Woods when his back got screwed up. We did hear a lot about that. But that was like it. I mean, that was 20 years ago. So unfortunately, you're right. It's not a bit. It's a stupid thing. NASCAR during the season gets a lot of play, and you know how many athletes there are in NASCAR? 200. So how am I going to cater to the athletes in NASCAR? It's really a fan sport. And I don't really give a shit about fans. That's really, it happens, but it's not really my goal. Obviously, on every sport, we have competition, so fans are going to be tuning in. What I want to do is get people to the point where people are going to be watching them. So,
Okay.
that's my goal, is to be the resource where people go for their sport, no matter what role they have in the the hierarchy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're right. This is the stupidest country in the world when it comes to sports. And no soccer, no cricket, very little pro track and field, no pro track and field actually. Their
Yeah.
idea of wrestling is worldwide WWE. It's not Greco-Roman. So this is a stupid country. So our goal is really to even out this the whole concept of this world. What I'm doing is that 80% of our people here in the United States are playing those other sports. They're not playing baseball, basketball, football, hockey. They're playing everything else.
Yeah.
And it drives me crazy that you don't see it. So my goal in life is to bring that out, to say you've got an even playing field. If you're a football player, you can find it. But if you're a fencer, you can find it. If you're a field hockey player, you're going to find that. And this is going to be your place for your home in your sport. And the way I built this is that I can build 100 sports in 100 hours, and it costs me like nothing to do. If I bring in a U.S. team athlete, someone who's known, who shows up on the Olympics in 2 years or next year now, they get $20 an hour for being the sponsor for every little kid who's coming up in that sport. If a 10-year-old kid says, I want to learn how to fence, they click Lydia Kopecki and they can send an email to Lydia and say, hey, how do you, explain to me what the different swords are and why you decided to do foil. So, this is like, you're right. It's absolutely vertical from beginner to pro and Olympic athlete. It's also obviously very horizontal. It goes to every sport and every group. Every group that you can think about is here. And it'll keep growing as we grow. And the best thing about it is that you can have different layers, like the USTA, for example. The USTA Tennis Association, that's one of the top 5 sports in players in America, 25 million people. And you see it during the big competitions, the 5 big competitions. So after that, you don't see any tennis. You really have to go to the cable channels or to the tennis channel, or go searching online, go to YouTube. So our biggest competitor right now is YouTube, because they already are the place where all these videos show up in a canned situation, but now they're doing live events. So it's a different ball game there. So they allow you to take all their videos and move them or copy them and put them on your site. That's all of our stuff is coming off of YouTube right now, or Vimeo. So if I'm almost everything is YouTube right now. But they allow you to just do this. I can take a YouTube video and plop it right here, no matter what level of YouTube it is, and you can watch it. So I'm getting my advertising in front of someone who wants to watch something, but the content's coming from YouTube.
Yeah.
And when the way YouTube works is that they get paid for video ads in the middle of either at the beginning or in the middle of whatever video they're showing. So after 6 or 7 minutes, an ad's going to pop up, and YouTube gets 3 to 5 cents.
But how that would translate into the mobile world? Because you're going to build a mobile app, right?
Oh, well, YouTube's on obviously mobile, so our users will be able to watch all these YouTube videos right on their phone.
I understand, but about the advertising. So how are you going to make money? The advertising space is not the same on a mobile than a screen, right?
Right. So let's say I'm looking at Instagram. I don't want to go there. On the bottom of every page, Yeah. So on the bottom of every other page on Instagram, there's an ad in the bottom, and that's valuable space. So I can have advertisers on my on my apps. Same thing. Ad shows up down at the bottom, and if I click on it, it pops up. And every time I click on another page or another profile or another video, that ad pops up down at the bottom, whether or not I'm watching YouTube or ESPN or looking at UB Sports and checking out skills and drills videos.
Okay.
It's all, there's still ads down at the bottom every time I hit a page.
I think if you could find a way to like Facebook, for example, they fixed that issue by posting advertising through the feed, the update feed.
Yeah.
They found that this would be the best way to engage a user, as opposed to have something, for example, in the bottom of the page, which is small and less engaging. You could also have your own pre-video, but that would be nasty for the user to cross two set of advertising before they can.
But actually, when we set up our own video system, we'll be doing that. We'll have pre-rolls just like YouTube does, and it's called interstitial ads. We can do that with our own advertisers once we have our own video system set up, which is one of the impetus why we want to have that set up. That's definitely a case. But when we can't do that, we can surround it with ads and have stuff pop up in between the the video loading. So the video can load behind the scenes while you're watching another ad, while you're seeing another ad, because videos take a while to load. They don't happen like in a tenth of a second.
Also, and this is something I learned in at the MIT when I went in Boston. When you build a platform, the issue, and you have many, for example, if you take, I don't know, eBay. At first, eBay, well, they were like an a place where you could sell your stuff out, but there were how you could attract seller if they wouldn't be any buyer on the platforms. So they called that the seed phase. So they stole content basically. So they went on all newspapers' webpage and copy all those ads, brought them on the platform. Well, basically they went into they used Craigslist website. They pumped the data and they brought it into the platform, and this way, if I'm a buyer, I can go on the website and see and on the platform and believe that I got enough seller to satisfy my needs, and the other way around for the sellers. And so because at a certain point in time, if you want to convert customers to your platform, you need to have specific threshold. For example, if you are the best in hockey, for example, the best content provider in hockey, then that will attract other people to follow their hockey portal and everything, right? Just thinking out loud, is there any? So I see you have those YouTubes. You're dependent on someone to filter, collect, search, found the content. Would that be easily automated, the content collection?
Well, there are two things. There's depends on what part of the content you're looking at. If you're looking at the news feeds over here, These are automatically automated because every page is they'll be like the homepage for ESPN. It'll just be the ESPN homepage, and then you can search among the sections in ESPN. That's number one. Number two, there's this company called FeedSpot. They'll take the RSS feeds off of whatever sites you're interested in, and they'll peel them and put them onto one place. It'll look the same throughout the site, but it's called FeedSpot, FeedSpot, and there are a bunch of them. RSS include there are a couple other ones that'll take the RSS feeds from whatever sites you say you're interested in and put them into one feed. Like I have my Twitter has a bunch of different accounts, but it's all in one box. I could have the same RSS feeds that'll be all news or other updated content. So that happens without anyone touching it. So in essence, the news and the blogs, once they're first set up, should automatically reload all the time with new stuff. And like every day, there's new news on ESPN and NBC and NHL and CBS.
And what about other sports side, for example? Because I feel like there's so many things out there that you could automate beside ESPN and those big channels that people knows anyways. If you look at, what's the name of this company? Blue Star?
Blue Star?
Sports. There's a sports company, Blue Star. Is that Blue Star Sports? Texas.
Let's see. Blue Star, kitchen appliances, nutraceuticals,
sports software.
Blue Star, Warriors Wiki fandom. What's that? So, okay, so we just see one of the other problems is you're thinking about something and we're trying to figure out where to find it, and we go to Google and we're down. This is really fandom. This is really an esports site, or a person or somebody, and it's just a group that does esports. So that is the problem, is that there's no single way to get into what you're looking at. What you need is someone to help you, guide you basically through your stuff. And Blue Star range lineup, that's appliances.
Well,
what Blue Star? This is a great example. This is a perfect example of the problem.
What do you mean?
There's Blue Chip. Do you mean Blue Chip?
No, Blue Star. I think they've changed their name for Stack Sports. But the point I'm making is what we develop. For example, I'll give you an example. What we develop at Big League, our issue or challenge, everybody's challenge is this: to convert the more customers as possible. So what we did is we said, okay, we'll be the reference for every games schedule that you want to have in
yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Independently of the sport, the city, and everything. What we found is that most of those sport associations, local sport association, have their own website on which they publish their schedule, their league match, and everything. So we decided to focus on that for the 5 main sports, and we pump the data.
Right.
We use a technology called screen scraping, and we just pump the data, right? And with that, we feed our system with all these data. And then when a coach or parent or anyone wants to create an account, they can look and see, hey, my team is there. And then they create their team to communicate with their team members and parents, and all the schedule is downloaded in the team right away, so they don't have to re-enter everything. So that's something that it's not live yet, but that's something we're working on. And this is quite powerful because when you got the data, you got the people. If you bring the data first, then the people will follow. And the idea is, how do you make sure that you collect all the data, the most data as possible, and then that you index that data in sort of way that it will be easier for all the people to connect, to find the data that you collected. It's more my mindset right now, trying to automate.
Do you know what Stack was originally?
Sorry?
Do you know what Stack was originally? Stack was like a workout video system. And Stack was like, it would be a video of how to do bench presses, how to do leg raises, how to do that kind of stuff. And then Stack got bought by a company, a venture company, and then they started collecting other stuff under the Stack name. And one of the things they did is they bought Blue Star.
Okay.
And
because
so
Blue Star, we got a proposal by Blue Star to they wanted to buy us 1 year ago, and you see, I just learned that they've been bought by Stack.
well, that's what they're doing. They're in the middle of aggregating, actually buying these things. And to me, content is king, but content gets old really fast. So,
and that's why you need to focus on the process, not on the content itself.
And you have to figure out how to aggregate most efficiently. So you bring in the stuff in that other people write. However, what we decided to do is when the Olympic athletes hanging out on UB Sports and I'm paying them $20 an hour, they have to write their blog and put it on UB Sports. And if they're training, they have to have a training video of what they're doing. They also have to answer questions from the users. So it's a much more hands-on kind of thing. And so that's really the only content that we're building, is that hands-on content that comes directly from the Olympic athletes and the pro athletes. Everything else we're dragging, like you said, we're scraping sites and we're bringing on pages from other places.
So if you can, well, two things, and I'm still brainstorming. The ambassador thing, I think it's perfect for you. That gives a lot of value to your platform because it's genuine content, right?
Uh-huh.
Then if you can automate the collect of the content so you don't have to be involved or no human is involved in that, that would be like the perfect combo. So you can, or you can may take some contribution from the ambassador to help to curate the content that you pump from outside, but really minimum, right? Because it's still interesting to understand that this specific athlete has decided that this content is good for me. So that brings value. But you need to help the athlete because he won't be able to do it by himself. So right. Really just click there, that's all. And then write something. If I look at everything you do in the market, what brings value, the core of the content is that, for example, if you have a section for the rules for a specific sport, that's good to have it because you have a portal for the sport. But that, I wouldn't say it has more value than the content that you create through the ambassadors or that you can create. If there's a change in the rule, then that's something different. Then you can make an ambassador publish something on that.
Right, that's a news item. That becomes important.
Yeah.
And you're right. Squash. We went from scoring by winning 9, but you had to only win. You can only win a point if you served. And if you didn't serve, then you had to win the serve first, and then the next point would be when you won a point. So we only
Yeah.
played till 9. Now every time you win a point, so they changed the whole rules, and everybody's going like, "What? I don't understand." And they've done that with the scoring systems in squash probably 5 times over the past 5 years in different, in either doubles or singles or hardball or softball. And everybody was like, "What are you talking about? We just had it like this," and it drives everybody crazy. But you're right; that's very important to know what's
Yeah.
going on with the rules.
The other thing is skill and drill, for example. That would make sense to have that on your platform from the moment it is promoted by the ambassador. So if this is something that
Right.
the ambassador believes in, it's a good skill to develop, or it's a good drill to make, then that would make sense. Because I don't know if you got me. I think what I miss right now, don't get me wrong, I love what you do, but what I miss is the one thing that made me think about your platform. And I know it's something about the social media, but if you would focus on the ambassadors, sports ambassadors, for example, and then it gives the glues that fix them all, right? And maybe that's what you had in mind at first, but when I look at the website, it's not something, at least yet, that stand out.
Exactly right. And that's one of the things that when we built the site, the guy who was building, setting up the way the workflow works now, is that he really didn't want to do that. I kept on saying, "We got to really bring the ambassadors out." He goes, "Well, how many do you have?" I said, "Well, we have like 8." He said, "You really? So you get the whole site's gonna be based on these 8 ambassadors?" I was like, "Well, I sort of get it. You know, if we're having 100 sports, 8 ambassadors, we really don't have enough to do that yet." So you're exactly right. What we have to do is when we circle back, I was just checking this out. This is a Blue Chip, you found that Blue Star thing. The last, and
Blue Star.
so Blue Star. So Stack is one of the most aggressive things that's happened in online sports, because they went and they changed what they were doing. They got bought out, and then they got monetized, and they could start buying out other guys. The last thing they have is over a year ago. So they're even, they got entrenched in what they were doing. They didn't really keep going with what they were doing. So, right, the idea that we're going to have that in the new version is that when you're here, and actually it's right out here if you look at it, the ambassador content, this is from the ambassadors. This is their blogs right here. That's the most, it's front and center. It's top left. So what you do have to have is when one of the ambassadors does something, we're going to have a little thing that pops up here. It's a video saying, "Hey, I just loaded something," and they have to do this. They give 10 seconds of what they just did on the site. So that's going to be popping up right in the middle, right there, for the sports that you care about. You don't really give a shit if they're talking about darts. You care about the sports that you care about. So one of the ambassadors in your sports is going to pop up right here for like 10 seconds when you first sign on. And it's going to say, "Hey, I just loaded a new skills and drills video. Go back to soccer and check it out." And also, when you first go to a different sport, yes, there's backgammon there. So the first thing that happens while it's loading this is that you get a quick picture, full screen, of the latest and most looked at photo that's been loaded onto the badminton portal, because you just went to badminton. So that pops up for a second as we're loading everything up. So what you see is like, bang, you see a picture of your sport that's really engaging in the first place, and then everything's loaded in the background, and then 2 seconds later it pops into, you see the full page.
And what if the ambassador wouldn't be an athlete but a coach?
Nothing wrong with that. That's great.
Because
Um, as long
if
as they're known. The idea is they have to have a name. And, let's say in tennis, you don't want to have Joe Schmo be the coach because nobody knows who Joe Schmo is. But if it's Ion Tiriac, if it's Boris Becker, if it's one of the other guys that is now coaching that we all know from when they were playing, that is very important.
yeah, so you could display whoever has been their coached athlete,
Uh-huh.
and then that gives a lot of credibility. And the thing is, the coach wants to find a job, right? He's always looking at the perfect athlete or being the coach for the Olympic team, or so the coach will have to sell himself, find a way to be seen, and this is a business, right? So a coach will be a private coach for some freaky family who wants to invest their pension fund into their kids' sport, and so I think they make a good fit for what you want to do, as opposed, for example, to a young athlete who might have a lot of will but limited capability or skill into communication and communicating with people. That could be a good fit. What do you think?
Two things. One is absolutely when you go back to your profile and you're building what you're doing, you build your own profile, you're going to say you're a coach. So that allows people then to search for you.
Yeah.
You can also advertise into the population of all athletes in the nation or all athletes regionally or locally. Like you say, I want to advertise to 10-mile radius, 25-mile radius, 50-mile radius, the whole nation. Mm-hmm. And when you can put an ad on UB Sports for a penny a view for your service. You can also, if you're going to do a subscription service, we'll have a subscription service builder right on UB Sports so that you can build that subscription service and then charge $10 a month on UB Sports. So when the kid sees that you're a coach and sees that your subscription service is right there, you can advertise that service right on UB Sports, but then you have to pay a penny per view for someone to see that you're doing coaching. And then when you run the subscription service, 30% of the ad revenue, or 30% of the subscription cost ends up in UB Sports' pocket, and you keep the other 70%. So you work that into your business model. All right, I know it's going to be $50 a month, and $15 are going to UB Sports, but I keep $35 per month per person. So I need, if it's 10 people, that's $350. If I have 100 people, that's $3,500. And if I get to 30 people, I'm actually making enough money to live. So, and that would be about an hour per person per week that you are helping tutor on your site, but you're making $10,000 a month. That's pretty cool. Mm. And you could also have group lessons where you're not really doing personal things, but when you're just loading another skill or drill onto UB Sports, onto your subscription service, and you could have 1,000 people, 10,000 people on the portal. And again, you're getting 70% of whatever happens on there. So that's a platform that no one's built yet, a subscription service where you can go in and build your own subscription service and load your own videos and then have your own communications and relationships with the people who you're tutoring.
Yeah.
So that's really cool because that's phase B. We can't do it right out of the box because we won't have enough to make it worth our while. But phase B, which is about 8 months, 10 months down the road, we're definitely all over that. So we have 4 tools that we're building 8 months down the road, and that's one of them. That subscription builder.
Okay, and those guys from LinkedIn. How do you think will they help? Do you think they will help?
As far as raising funds,
Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
They are already setting up a meeting with me with one of the NFL coaches to get his
Okay.
money. So they've already said that they can probably do just about all of the $5 million.
Okay. Cool. Cool.
So that is obviously very cool. That's very exciting. And so yeah, that's good.
Is there anything in what you've seen last week that you'd like to reuse in your next platforms?
You mean in your stuff?
Yeah.
That's a great question. What I saw mostly in your stuff is stuff that we did with my old company, Zeus. You know, the league management, the team management stuff, and I'm trying to wrap my head around how you set up the logos and how you had your workflow going. And it's different. Yours is really basically built for teams and leagues and the kids who are playing within those umbrellas. And while that's extremely important for what we're doing, that would be duplicate of what we're doing already. So as far as that goes, I think what's more interesting with what you were doing was how you were allowing people to talk to each other. But that's more of a workflow thing that isn't something that we could, take off of your site. I think the best thing, what it might come down to, is just that we decide that we're going to use the social services that we have on UB Sports and work them into what you're doing and allow your members to be on our site. How many members do you have?
Bit more than 30,000.
All right. So if you use UB Sports for the social side of things and they tool around the minimum that I think they're going to be tooling around, which is about 40 pages per person per month, that would generate about $30,000 for you just by using our social service. So what I was thinking was that you don't really have that side really well done. And it looks like
so yeah, I'm not into the
thinking
content. I'm not into the content at all. I mean, we have this, let's say, teamless environment, so you can be a member of big league and have friends over and communicate and follow people. So
Right.
you don't have to be part of a team. So we have that section developed where you got your sport profile and everything.
Right.
But we didn't do any content, and we could easily connect on UB Sport, for example, to promote some content and engage more people, allow them to subscribe to specific content. I feel though there's really it's focused on US, right, for now. But I think it's just a matter of time that you would spread across the world. Yeah, so yeah, we could use your content, that's for sure. In terms of mobile application, that kind of stuff, do you think there's, because we spend a lot of time on the design, on the visual design for the mobile application, for the web. If you want to leverage that I'll be happy as well.
That's cool. So that's a good point.
Because my mindset, Greg, is not to make money on you, it's to help you, right? So and I'm at the point in big league that I want the platform to grow, but we don't have the capital right now to spend on commercialization. So whatever I can do or to help you out with the platform, I mean, I'll be happy with it.
That's great. Well, I think that you're right. We have a lot of stuff that might help you with engaging your members more. And also, I think it would let's talk it out. Let's figure out what we can do. I think it's a great idea. I think it'd be really fun to be able to leverage what we have going, what you have going, and get it all to work together.
Yeah.
And there's no reason why your people shouldn't be able to see our content and communicate with each other in a bigger environment with all sports available and all the information they need, and then skills and drills, videos, and that kind of stuff.
Because, for example, let's think, let's brainstorm. So if you could, we have the concept on Big League of sport network. I feel like here it relates to sport portal. So you could have a sport network for every sport that exists, and people can just subscribe to or be member of that sport portal.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's what it's
right?
for. Yeah.
And within the sport network, you have the ability to publish events,
Yep.
bulletins,
Mm-hmm.
drills, whatever. We have the concept of venues as well, where you can search for all the, for example, we have the all hockey rink here in Quebec indexed in the platform. And ultimately, would like to have them, well, all these sport venues possible.
How many hockey rinks are there in Quebec?
Sorry?
How many hockey rinks are there in Quebec?
Maybe 2,000.
Wow.
Yeah. We're
so backwards here in the United States, man. It's unbelievable.
Well, it's only the inside rink, right? For outside rink,
right.
Well, we don't know.
Yeah, there are billions of them. Every lake becomes a rink.
Billions, right? Well, when you look at the street, when it's rain icing, it's almost a rink in winter.
That's cool.
Yeah, let's look at people skating in the street. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that there's a lot of things that you could do with our platform. Right now, I mean, by just using what we have right now. And I feel that your biggest concern is content. I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud. Maybe there's something we can do together. If you focus on that content and the platform fits for you, and it could be rebranded, by the way, and it's not an issue, but if the platform works, why rewriting something else? Or that would be similar anyways. And don't have to answer today, just try to feed the thinking. Yeah, with the mobile application that is available right now, you could make a jump into your development roadmap.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out more deeply to see if it does fit. It's a good looking site. It's a good looking app.
Yeah.
And it basically, in a lot of ways, as I said, it's a lot of it is like what we're doing, but you've done the team and league thing. You've taken that and run with it. And that's cool, because that's what I left to my other partners. 9 years ago now. So yeah, that was.
One thing I learned in the journey. I don't remember till when you're working on that one, but on my side, I'm working on it since 2013, and I've learned a lot, and I underestimated the work or the effort that is required to reach the point where I wanted to be in terms of quantity of user in the platform.
That's the hardest part, is that you can't really figure that out. how to make that grow faster and how to get more teams and leagues in there without just totally bribing the guys who own the leagues.
And it's, for me at least, it's we can sum up this way. I'm into the social media game. In Canada, it's not like something we even understand. I mean, people invest into business that get incomes, not business that get users. So, and the way VCs will invest into your business, it's either ways. I mean, either you demonstrate that you have a user growth,
Right.
or a revenue growth. Could be one or the other, or both. But here in Canada, we only focus on revenue growth.
Right.
And we have kind of a hole here. We have a space where we don't have investment for that. So tough luck. I mean, I said, I'm going to go this game anyways. And we found some people that invest their own money in the business. But the thing is, at first we had trouble in defining what we do, what we want to do, because we were just trying stuff. We felt that in that space, there's something that's going to define itself, and then we'll bring that up to the sky. And we tried a lot of things, really, and we have a lot of different business models that we have put aside, but they are pretty good business model. The thing, or what we were looking for, is the way or the mechanism that would bring on the platform as many users as possible.
Yeah, of course.
And we have those users, so the athletes, the parents, the coach, the fans, and the sports organizations.
Uh-huh.
And we have a value proposal for each one of them. But it's really hard to scale all them together, because when you scale, that means you invest in advertising and promoting and so on, but you cannot invest in every side at once at the same time. So at some point in time, you need to make choice, and this is where I'm going, right? Like for us, we decided, we tested the B2B model, where we have to go get sell the platform to the sport organization, and we tried the B2C model, where we had to sell the platform to the coach, for example. There are pros and cons in both of them, but the investment required, they are tremendous on either side. So we are at a point where we're ready to partner. We're not eager on the food. I mean, we invest $750,000 Canadian dollars on that.
Yeah.
And we're ready to give out the platform to make sure that there's a way. I mean, there's so many different business models available in the world that we should consider working together some sort of way.
So in our, one of the hardest things was to figure out a way that I can be most efficient with that marketing. You're right, because that's the hardest part, is to figure out how to get those people on. And being that my background has been very varied in a bunch of different sports, but they've all been Olympics. Most of them have been Olympic sports, except for squash, which pisses me off. So I was planning on being in the 80 Olympics. In fencing, I've been a sailor, I've been a pro sailor, And, I've been doing so many things in these lower profile sports that really have been my lifeblood. I just love doing that kind of stuff. Coaching my kids' soccer team was a blast. All that stuff is just something I just love doing, but it wasn't baseball, basketball, football, hockey. And so immediately I was thinking Olympic sports. And then I was thinking, how do I get all these people in? And if you look at our marketing model, it's very straightforward. Go right to the top and say, listen, USA Volleyball, this is what we can do for you. We can take all your members, we can give them all the skills that they need to go more quickly from beginner to intermediate to elite. Because USA Volleyball and all the other NGBs, all they care about is the elite athletes. Everyone else is expected to be brought up by the community, by the local club, local team, local coaches, up to the point where they're elite. When they're elite, they either go to the Olympic team if it's not one of those sports. But if it's a sport where you start off at college and then you end up being in the Olympics between 20 and 24, that's a whole different ballgame. That's like separate. So gymnastics goes one way, for example, or equestrian goes one way, and then sailing, rugby, soccer, all the other Olympic sports end up being through the college route. And then you have weird ones that are just pros, like you go from high school to pro. And those really aren't the Olympic sports. So you have two different separations, but they both end up being in the governing body sooner or later. And so I just said, okay, let's go for the governing body and help the governing body get the people from beginner to elite. Because none of them do that. If you go to any one of there are only two governing bodies that I know of that help you become a better athlete in that sport, which is the stupidest thing in the world. And they're the ones where safety is king, shooting and archery. So obviously you don't want a kid pointing a gun at somebody else. So it's all about safety and then teaching them how to go to the range and shoot. So the same thing with archery. How do you do a bow? How do you pull it back? How do you string it? Da, da, da. So all the other sports do not have how you become a good athlete in those sports on their pages. They count on the communities to do that. So I went to them, to each one of the governing bodies. I've spoken with 45 of them so far. And I said, listen, if you give me the information that will help a beginner athlete get to the elite athlete where you want to grab them and take them to the Olympics, I'll work with you with getting that information down to that local athlete. You have to give me the content and you have to allow your members to join UB Sports. And if you allow your members to join UB Sports and get your US team athletes on UB Sports, I can give you tools that will help manage them. I'll give you tools to get the Olympic athletes in front of the kids who are just starting. And I'll give the kids who are just starting access to all the information they need to become elite athletes faster. So then on top of that governing body, if you have 40,000 athletes, I'm going to give you roughly $1 a person per year for access to those athletes through their ad revenue, no matter what sport they're looking at on UB Sports. And that's the whole cool thing about having 100 sports and 20 fitness venues is that the athlete isn't just going to stay on your sport. They're going to go look at field hockey during that season. They're going to look at fencing during that season. They're going to be sailing, so they want to check out sailing. They're going to be doing other sports, not just yours. And that's something that every NGB is supporting now. No NGB is saying you should only play field hockey 12 months a year. Here's another stupid thing. In America, there's no such thing as men's field hockey, even though that's what they play in the Olympics. It's incredible. It's so stupid. So the boys who are coming up have to play on the girls' teams. Which, if you think about it, if I were a boy and I was about 12 or 13, I'd want to play field hockey because I want to be in front of all those girls all the time. That's another story.
So how do they respond? I mean, the governing bodies, how do they respond to that? I mean, if you offer them,
they love it. They're thrilled because number one, none of them have enough money. They're all impoverished. So if I can give them $1 per person for all their people that are their members are ready they'll be very happy. On top of that, being that I'm going to have 99 other sports on UV Sports, some of those other 99 sports worth of players are going to want to become athletes in their sport. So we can bring those people onto that NGB's portal, and I can make them become members for you. Then you're even able to cross pollinate. You can go out using the recruiting tool and look across all the other sports and actually recruit into your sport. For example, USA Rugby. USA Rugby can take soccer players, football players, baseball players, field hockey players, all into rugby, because rugby really is just, you got to run and not mind getting hurt. So that's basically what you can do. You can go search all those other sports for people who might want to play your sport. So they can say, listen, I'll work with you if you advertise to every football player and soccer player that rugby is the up-and-coming sport, field sport in America. So we can work with them on that. And so we're adding so much value to them that they never had before. Because that's another thing. In the United States, I don't know what it's like in Canada, but in the United States, every sport's in its silo, right? And so here they are on the top of their sport, and here are the beginners in their sport, and they're expected to play up and stay within the silo. And that's it. They ignore or downplay or poo-poo the concept that this kid's going to play in another sport.
Yeah.
And they're not going to play their sport all year round. And they don't support this thing. They support this thing. So they try to keep everything within their walls. I love that. That was really cool using that. That's what it's all about. It's about breaking them out of their mold. And there are two factions in every one of the governing bodies. There's the modern faction that understands social media and understands how people want to interplay. And then there's the old style that's saying, I want to live in my silo, that's it.
Yeah.
And the people who are the communications managers and the social managers and the social outreach managers and the marketing people and the coaches all know what the story is. They want to have the kids playing different sports. You can't play one sport all year round. Otherwise you get overuse injuries and all the rest of the stuff that happens. And you're going to have interest during different seasons. You know, someone who's doing curling is going to do that during the winter, and they're going to go sailing during the summer or go surfing or doing other stuff. And so the idea is that you want to have those kind of opportunities, which doesn't exist if you have your stupid silo.
Yeah.
The administrators, on the other hand, they've grown up in this USOC model and the NGB model where they got to push everybody into their sport.
Yeah.
So by being more holistic in this and being more organic, my girlfriend loves saying organic. Everything's organic. So the idea is that people are going to flow toward you, and your people are going to want to flow out for a while during the other seasons, and then they're going to flow back during your seasons.
Correct.
If they're serious, they're going to be cross-training and thinking, when the fencing season comes around, I'm going to be ready for fencing because during the off season, I'm going to be doing the other things that I can do to cross-train, to build the other parts of my body and eat right and do all the other stuff. So when I come back in, I'm psyched, I'm ready to go, and I'm properly trained for now those specific skills for fencing. Fencing, you get a really weird body. Your dominant side gets very strong. So I'm a lefty. So my left side got really strong. My arm was stronger. My chest was stronger. My abs actually were stronger on the other side, because when you lunge and pull back, that's all with the opposite side. So your obliques get stronger on the other side, but your front leg gets like twice as big as your back leg. Yeah. So during the off season, you've got to work all those other sides and try to keep yourself balanced. And so that's really important, is to have those other things that you can do in this cross training, to understand that you need cross training. So they get that. The people who are more progressive and more current, they know that you have to play other things, and they know also that you can cross-pollinate and grab people from other sports and bring them onto your sport. So the other part of it is that the old way to do things. There's the old way, the way things were done, and the way things should be done in the new modern world. In the new modern world, if I join USA Archery, I should be paying $7 a month instead of $95 a year. $7 a month is going to be good for a parent who wants a kid to start playing, doing archery, but doesn't want to spend $100 up front. So if I pay $7 a month, I get all USA Archery's training materials and all their skills and drills videos and all the stuff that USA Archery wants only for their members. And meanwhile, I'm paying only $7 a month. So if the kid decides not to play, get serious about archery, those $7 a month are still being peeled out. And usually you don't really care about those $5 and $7 and that kind of stuff that adds up. So it ends up that usually a parent who's paying $5 a month will forget about that. So the NGB makes a lot more money than they're actually providing in services and value to that athlete. So,
Yes.
and that's a debate in the United States right now in sports. I was talking to the head of synchronized swimming a couple days ago, and he said that's the big debate right now. Do I want to? And the even worse, which is really crazy, is that the funding bodies are directing these people what to do. They're saying, well, right now our subscription model is leaning toward annual subscriptions. So all of a sudden, whoever is being funded by them has to like go, all right, I'll do annual subscriptions. So they go do annual subscriptions. Then all of a sudden, the model changes. The venture capital company comes back and says, by the way, we changed our mind. It's really better to do a monthly subscription model. So all of a sudden they go, oh, I got to make that more valuable to my users so that they start doing that instead. So that's one of the problems with being owned by somebody else. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons why I don't want to have one big investment company do it, and why I'd like a lot of NBA and NFL players, because number one, they understand how important it is to contact your community and the kids who are starting off, and how to direct them into a bunch of different things. Whereas the company that comes along and wants to buy us has their thought in mind. This is how we know how subscriptions work. When it might not work for sports, it might work great for banking. But how do you? There's a challenge in control when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and you need to take to pick what you want to take, what's good for you.
Yeah.
I've seen both. I mean, I've seen VCs that can crash a company big time and throw it in the trash, right? Yeah. I've seen VCs take companies and take them to the sky. So really, there's no VC, there's no two VC identical. You really need to pick what VC you want to work with. I would say same thing with the athletes. My personal experience, when I used to speak with an athlete, a pro athlete, is more interested by his brand, his name, right? Giving back to community, I think it comes second.
Unless that helps him build his brand.
Sorry?
Unless two things. One, unless it helps them build their brand. And two, if they can make money from it.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden it becomes a big thing.
Yeah, but I mean, there's good athletes with good mindset out there. But yeah, a lot of them are concerned about their brand. And I mean, if they do 10 million a year, 50 million a year, they need to be concerned about their brand. It's part of the game. So getting back to the governing bodies, so do you have any contract with them so far, or? Yeah? Okay. How many of them?
MOUs with about 10 of them, cycling, triathlon, those guys. And we have an actual agreement with USA Badminton. Badminton is a great example in the United States. 7 million people play badminton competitively. Do you think there's more than 10 minutes of badminton on TV all year? 7 million of them. 2% of the U.S. population plays badminton seriously, and you never, ever, ever see it on TV.
Yeah, listen. This is the same here in Quebec. Imagine, basketball is the most played sport.
Is it really?
Yeah, because it's played in all schools, right? All kids in all schools plays basketball, but we don't hear about that. We don't have a pro team. Actually, this is bad. We need to fall back on Toronto's for that. This is not good for someone from Montreal. But anyways, yeah, it's two different worlds. The world where you can practice a sport and the world you watch on TV.
Yeah, it's so different. And what I know down here, what I think I told you the story. The way I got into this thing was what I thought only like a couple thousand people sailed and a couple thousand people fenced and a couple thousand people played squash, and I had no idea how big the other sports were. And I was in this club in the city, and I'm there working on a table like I'm doing right now, and it was in the library, so there were books all around. And facing me, this is a true story. Facing me was the census reports for the United States. This is in 2003 or 4, so it was a 2000 census. So I had this idea. I thought it was a really cool idea, but I thought that nobody played these other sports. So I, just for kicks, I grabbed the census, I opened it up, and I'm reading this thing. I'm going like, what do you mean there is as many hockey players as badminton players? What do you mean there is as many soccer players as basketball players? I'm looking at this thing going like, this is wrong. This has got to be wrong. So I worked it all out. There were 280 million people in the census report that play sports. Of those, 50 million were playing the big league sports, and the other 230 million are playing the lower profile sports. So it's 80-20, the 80-20 rule. And it's amazing how much this 80-20 rule works out. But it worked out that 80% of the people were playing these other sports. And they're being underrepresented. They're not in retail. They're not, like, you're never going to find a fencing sword in one store in the United States. Forget about it. We were the only store in New York that had fencing. When I started my sporting goods store, we were the only place you could get fencing stuff real time in a store. And so we had people coming from New York City, from Montauk, from the end of the island, from upstate New York down to our store, because we're the only fencing store around. So that's the epitome of what the problem was that there was no representation of these other 95 sports here in the United States. So that became that. Then I said, okay, this sounds really cool, but what does that mean in terms of sporting goods? So I looked at the sporting goods market, and 80 to 85% of the money spent on sporting goods was on the lower profile sports. They spend more money at Yale. You think about Yale's got a big football team. They spend more money on crew than they do in football. They have 40 members of the football team. They have 250 people doing crew at Yale.
Okay.
Crew. Yeah, like, who would guess? They probably don't even have crew in Canada. And
but I mean, yeah, and at a university, how they make money, it's by broadcasting rights, football, that kind of stuff, right?
3 sports.
Yeah. So
and that's what's so crazy is they only make money in 3 sports. And there's a lot of people who even say they're not making money at those sports because the resources of the school that go into that sport override all the money they make from ticket sales and from the broadcasting rights.
For real?
If you build a stadium, you got to pay for the stadium. Yeah. If you maintain the stadium, you got to pay for that. If it's a turf, you got to take care of the turf. You got to have guards, you got to have all the coaches, you got to pay for the coaches.
Yeah.
So when you get down, and coaches, they get so much money at the college level, it's ridiculous. If you have a big team, I just heard this last night. Who was it? I think it was Oklahoma. They pay something like $9 million for their coaches. So they're
$9 million?
$9 million for their coaches.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm serious. And it's just it's mind-boggling how much money they're spending. So by the time they get done spending all that money, that so overrides how much they're making on broadcasting and tickets. So they're not making money. The best thing you can say is that their alumni network is vibrant, that the alumni give a lot of money to the school. And that's about the best thing you can say about what they're doing. But if you look at the other sports that they're paying for a lot, that's where the kids are really getting the more broad experience and the more exciting experience is when they're doing crew, when they're fencing, when they're playing. They're doing recreational sports. They're going to the rec center and doing stuff there.
Yeah.
They're playing intramural sports.
Yeah.
That's so much bigger than intercollegiate sports.
Yeah.
So one of the other tools that we're building, like right out of the box, is a system that manages their whole rec center, all the different areas in the rec center, and then for the different sports that are played in the different areas. So the rec center signs up, everything's taken care of for them. The kids are learning how to play. They get the rules. They know where to buy the equipment, and they also have, and the equipment, there's a kickback for the equipment too that goes back to the group. So, and then of course, if it's a rec center and they have 5,000 of the 20,000 kids on campus joining at the rec center, those 5,000 kids generate $5,000 just from the ad revenue from them going on the site. So it's the way I put it in my thing is that in my materials is that I've made it crazy for a group not to join, not to bring their members on board.
Okay.
And that's literally what it is. It's crazy for them not to do it. So
Okay.
yeah, every governing body that I've spoken with, except 2, have said they want to be involved.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So
that's how we
very,
market.
very
That's how we market.
So-
We go right to the centers of influence.
So I feel like we should get few days thinking about opportunities, and we can maybe have another maybe shorter call. What time is it?
It's like 2 hours a call. It's crazy.
So maybe next Friday 9 a.m. if it fits for you, it could fit for me.
Absolutely.
We could spend a bit of time discussing about synergies, any kind of synergies we could.
I
So
totally
let's
agree.
take a week and think about that. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Cool.
I'll give you a call then.
All right. Okay. Thanks so much, Greg.
All right, buddy. Great talking to you again.
Take care.
Talk to you later. Talk to you later. Hey there. How are you?
Fine, how are you?
Good, thank you.